Every ounce of information you are about to consume is verifiable and can be researched online by anyone. There is nothing in this video that has been added that cannot be checked for accuracy and verified as facts. Because the information you will see here will directly conflict with the narrative that the United States government is pushing to its citizens, we don't expect this video to remain available for viewing very long. Want to know who's really running the United States? Would it surprise you if you learned that neither the Democrat nor Republican Party actually runs the nation, but rather an elite law firm and an inner circle of elites that has power and influence over every facet of the government? Would it surprise you that they have influence over the President of the United States, Secretaries of State, military leaders, Supreme Court justices, members of Congress, state representatives, and so many more? The reason Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh voted to not allow religious exemptions is because he is part of the same elite inner circle that are actually calling the shots in America. The elite ring of partners, clients, and alumni of Williams and Connolly have full control over the United States government. They have represented and have files of information on some of the most important political figures in the nation. The Williams and Connolly partner Robert Barnett has represented Alan Greenspan, Katharine Graham, Ben Bernanke, Paul Ryan, Barack Obama, Tim Russert, Bill Clinton, Barbara Streisand, George W. Bush, Jack Welch, James Patterson, Coles Hosseini, Hillary Clinton, Bill Walton, Sarah Palin, Michelle Obama, Laura Bush, Dick Cheney, Bob Woodward, Mitch McConnell, Jake Tapper, and others. To Williams and Connolly, it makes no difference which political party a client is a part of. What matters is gaining influence over and information on the individual that holds the position of power. Williams and Connolly have an enormous influence regarding legal decisions within the entire nation, as over 45 Supreme Courts of the United States clerks are from within their firm as associates of Williams and Connolly. Brett Kavanaugh and former CEO of Pfizer, as well as Gregory Craig, who was the White House counsel for the former President of the United States, Barack Obama, are all part of Williams and Connolly's prominent alumni.
We have to put in place an infrastructure, not just here at home, but globally, that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it quickly, respond to it quickly. If and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up, 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment.
Federal regulators now have, in fact, granted full approval to the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine.
No one thought otherwise. Pfizer's still up $1.
The first licensing of a vaccine for the coronavirus officially, which is almost a year and a half old.
It really is kind of a farce. But remember, they were saying it was not going to happen until after Labor Day. And I think that the president may have said perhaps it should be sped up.
The fact that the small elite group's clients are the most high-powered individuals in the nation who make all of the national decisions is not enough by itself to overly concern the citizens of a so-called free nation, is it? Nor is it important that their clients are the individuals that routinely report the national news or who sit in the highest levels of political positions and who even hold the highest office in the land. Kindler served as a law clerk to Supreme Court Justice William Brennan Jr. Following his Supreme Court clerkship, he practiced civil and criminal litigation at Williams and Connolly, where he became a partner. In 2002, Jeffrey Kindler became the general counsel at Pfizer, the largest research-based biopharmaceutical company in the world. On July 8, 2006, Pfizer's board of directors selected Jeffrey Kindler as chief executive officer of Pfizer. Kindler is also a former member of President Obama's Management Advisory Board. Author Kim Eisler wrote a book specifically about Williams and Connolly in 2010, or 2 years after Barack Obama was elected as the President of the United States.
Kim Eisler, what's the world's most powerful law firm?
Well, Williams and Connolly is the firm here in Washington that represents all of the TV anchors, all of the big correspondents for most of the networks, all of the big reporters for the Washington Post, all the way up to Barack Obama, Sarah Palin, President Clinton, the Bushes. They pretty much have all the bases covered. And a few years ago, I did a story for Washingtonian magazine called "The Firm That Runs the World," and that sort of evolved into this book. How when you cut down to the nub of Washington politics and media, Williams and Connolly is sort of their lawyers are the ones who sort of control everything that goes on around here.
How did they get to grow so big and powerful?
Well, relatively speaking, they're not so big, but they're only about 250 lawyers, whereas a lot of firms now are up into the thousands. And in fact, that's one of the things about the book that makes them unique, is that they don't accept lateral partners like other firms do. In other words, stealing partners from other firms. They're an elite. They look at themselves as an elite band that grew up together, sort of like a baseball team that all played together in the minors. The sort of the thesis of the book is that when Edward Bennett Williams founded this firm, he was the most powerful and famous lawyer in the United States. After he died in 1988, 5 lawyers, Robert Barnett, Brendan Sullivan, Larry Lucchino, who's now the president of the Boston Red Sox, and a couple of other guys, took the firm and have moved it on to be even more powerful and influential than it was when Edward Bennett Williams was alive.
The firm that runs the world. When one considers the attorney-client privilege, or basically the legal privilege that works to keep confidential communications between an attorney and their client secret, Williams and Connolly could easily be seen as a serious concern for a free America. Williams and Connolly have in their possession secrets and classified information on the majority of the most powerful people in the world, more than any intelligence branch of the US government would possess. Williams and Connolly have also stored away troves of information on some of the largest corporations in the world. Just a small sample of the firm's corporate client list would include the likes of Google and Apple, as well as Disney. Since Williams and Connolly has most of the national press, the majority of the highest-ranking American politicians and even Supreme Court justices entwined within their web, one might begin to believe that Williams and Connolly are indeed in a position to control the biggest legal decisions and national policies by way of influence. The question at hand would be exactly how much influence has the Williams and Connolly law firm had on the most recent administration? Does it reach Joe Biden as well? The answer is a definite yes. Cynthia Hogan from the Williams and Connolly law firm has played more than a small role in Joe Biden's political career. She has worked as Joe Biden's chief counsel during his time in the United States Senate and through the duration of his tenure during his role as vice president. She also served as staff director to the Senate Judiciary Committee. On April 30, 2020, she joined Biden's presidential campaign. She even vetted and ultimately chose Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's VP nominee. Here is a Williams and Connolly associate choosing the next potential vice president. The American people are completely unaware that neither the Democrats nor the Republicans are calling the shots. They often are confused as to why it appears that their representatives have failed them, never realizing that their representatives are just the people chosen to fill a political position, and that the decisions being made are being made by the elite ring that actually controls every branch of the United States government. American citizens often seem aggravated that Joe Biden is short in his talks and has said openly that he was instructed to deliver the speech content but not take any questions. If American citizens realize the depth of the shadow government and its grip on the nation, there would be unprecedented resistance against the current administration. Joe Biden's advisors are more than just advising. Another peculiar example of Williams and Connolly influencing every major national decision in the United States is Biden's immediate halt to the Keystone XL oil pipeline on his first day in office. Why the sudden halt and reversal of American energy independence and drilling for oil? Why the sudden interest in electric vehicles? Why take such extreme steps so hastily? In December of 2018, Williams and Connolly chair Dane Butts Winkers became sole general counsel of Tesla. If American citizens were able to continue to get cheap gas prices at the pump, the entire electric car market would continue to struggle and possibly collapse. In the midst of the cheapest fuel prices in decades during a Trump administration, Williams and Connolly make a move to electric cars. Why? What did they know that the rest of America didn't? As it appears in just 2 short years, the stock value of Tesla has increased from $63 a share to over $1,000 a share. Of course, advising the individual that the firm has selected to be the president on how to deliver an energy policy regardless of the impact to American citizens has its perks. But does it have more perks than advising the president to push for mandatory injections of a drug that is being produced by individuals within the Williams and Connolly alumni? Is it a perk to have your drug the only FDA-approved vaccine while giving your company full immunity from damages?
The COVID vaccine. So Pfizer making the point it's driving the business. The COVID vaccine is huge, but also driving it on other cylinders as well. So Pfizer up there almost 2% in the pre-market.
The amount of power that comes from having the only approved drug available for the lab-created COVID virus is immense. Certainly that life-saving power would not be used for anything other than to save lives or to do good for humanity. Or would it? Is it possible that Pfizer has more sinister plans that would include expanding the power of the shadow government that controls the United States press, politicians, and its courts?
Terror comes in many forms, they say. Sometimes it's from the neighborhood, sometimes it's online, sometimes it's from those you entrust with saving lives. Vaccine makers, for example. While countries like India are sending free vaccines to poorer nations, there are companies like Pfizer which are bullying governments. It's a story in contrast, and what a stark contrast this is. The US-based company Pfizer is holding governments to ransom, interfering with their legislation, even demanding military bases as guarantee. Would you believe it? A vaccine maker asking for a country's military base in return for vaccines. In December 2020, Pfizer came back with more demands. It wanted sovereign assets as collateral. What does that mean? Pfizer wanted Argentina to put, and listen to this, put its bank reserves, its military bases, and its embassy buildings at stake as collateral. Pfizer wanted Argentina to put its sovereignty at stake for what? Just to secure vaccines. There is no doubt that Pfizer is sitting on a pile of life-saving drugs. But what gives it the right to bully a government? Profiteering from your plight and mine.
One may wonder how far the reach of Williams and Connolly is around the world. In relation to Pfizer and combined with Pfizer, the reach is beyond ordinary. Williams and Connolly boast already having a presence all over the world or anywhere that an airport can be found. The firm makes a fortune from foreign governments and entities by way of working to defeat requests for extradition by the United States. By way of keeping foreign government officials from being indicted in the United States for espionage. They also work on keeping foreign agricultural clients from being charged in antitrust investigations. How much power and money could be made if you held influence over a vaccine drug that supposedly protects against a man-made gain-of-function virus that was wreaking havoc on the world? If one were to consider governments forcing its citizens to receive the drug, then the potential windfall of profits would be enormous. Will the drug force other nations to surrender land, military bases, and more to those that wield the power of protection from the man-made virus? If the American people really want to clear their government of corruption, they must look not only at the politicians that are making backroom deals to enrich themselves, but they must look at who is pulling their strings. Who controls the politicians? Who controls the judges? Who controls the press and media networks? Who keeps the crimes of those in power hidden? Who gets presidents and vice presidents elected? If the average American citizen relies on the news or media they consume for information, then they are obviously going to get what has been created and approved for their consumption. As citizens are distracted by the content provided, the actual news is happening behind the scenes. The news networks and online social platforms use the same deflection tactics. If it does not come from their sources, then it is not true. They are to condemn the truth as a conspiracy theory. And as long as American citizens sit in the dark and fail to search for truth beyond what the news media provides, the United States has no chance of ending the corruption that has been eating away at the fabric of the nation like a cancer. Blind belief in authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Good luck, America.